There is nothing normal about this current presidential race. Both candidates have historically high negatives, and with the race now down to the last month, there is no love lost between the candidates, no handshake at the most recent debate, a debate that came days after audio of Donald Trump saying very unflattering things about women, something he said were just words, but now women are stepping up to say it was his action. Those women you see there are women Mr. Trump brought in who say they were assaulted by former President Clinton. The WikiLeaks providing Donald Trump with insight into the thinking of the Clinton campaign and ammunition to use to fire up his base, even as the Republican Party tries to hold on to some level of stability. Brandon Rottinghouse, professor of political science at the University of Houston and author of the book Inside Texas Politics, Policy, and Personality. Good to see you again.
You too, my friend.
You getting any rest with all of this stuff going on?
None. I can't sleep. The tweeting is constant now.
It is amazing how much is going on. What kind of, normally we look for an October surprise.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
We're getting one a day, it seems.
It's a buffet of surprises. Yeah, we're constantly inundated, which is interesting and is constantly changing the dynamics of the race, right? You've got polling, which essentially is pushing us in one direction or the other. Every day there's a new poll that says that you've got one person or the other ahead, or a new event that happened that's going to take one demographic group and shift it to the other side of things. So this constantly kind of shifting sands is tough for campaigns because they want stability. They want to know who the voters are going to be, and they want to be able to know when they can get them out. The problem is that if you've got this uncertainty, they can't know that. And
you are teaching political science, so what kinds of things, this is a gift that keeps on giving.
Right.
What do you talk to your students about in terms of the different kind of feel that this campaign has compared to all others?
Yeah, well, we call this a teachable moment, so in a way it's quite relevant. Well, I mean, I think one thing is a question about where the Republican Party will go. There's a question about the way in which they might try to amend themselves and to try to pull the sort of problem back together again. This has been an ongoing problem for the party since the 1970s, 1980s. The party has had this identity crisis. The Democrats too, but the Republicans have been searching for a way to be able to unify the disparate elements. And so it's the sort of George McGovern sort of problem for the Democrats too, where they're looking for a way to be able to try to find some resolution within the family, and that's been tough. So you've got these big factions, and Trump is taking up part of the factions, but you still have a sizable faction that doesn't want to see this happen for Trump. So you've got 1/4 of the entire congressional delegation who's against him. You've got all of this friction, and that's creating this potential down ballot problem for him.
Which is really unusual that because most of the time the politicians will support whoever's at the top of the ticket.
That's right, yeah.
And that's not happening right now. Let's take a look at some polls. The latest polling data has been in favor of Mrs. Clinton, and that's been driving a lot of what's been going on. Now, this is the NBC Wall Street Journal poll, and this is of likely voters, but it shows Mrs. Clinton ahead by 10 points, 50 to 40. The Reuters poll, taken about the same time after the last debate, has a narrower lead for Mrs. Clinton at 44 to 37%. And then the LA Times USC poll, which is tended to have Mr. Trump ahead, now shows them in a dead heat at 44% each. Now, Donald Trump's candidacy from the start has had the Republican Party as we know it, kind of in, as you said earlier, kind of in this identity problem kind of thing here. Traditional politics is nothing like traditional politics anymore.
Yeah.
What is this doing to the environment for politics and being able to govern no matter who wins this presidency?
I think it's creating a problem because one of the things that you want as a leader, especially as president, is to be able to find some kind of consensus. And if the parties aren't unified, it's harder to do that. We had polling which suggests, too, that Donald Trump is only winning about 70% of Republicans, whereas this number was 90% plus for McCain and for Romney. So the Republican Party itself is disarray, but so the Democrats, right? There is a younger generation which doesn't like or trust Hillary Clinton because they grew up in an era in the sort of post-banking world, and that isn't the same era that Hillary Clinton became sort of age in. You also have trade as an issue, so this is going to put a lot of states in play like Wisconsin, potentially Nevada, where Clinton might not perform as well. So the Democrats have the same problem too. So whoever becomes president is going to have to deal with this issue and try to unify these parties around some kind of a common goal, which is hard.
We talk about the October surprises, certainly the last week or so. And we taped the Newsmakers show last week, and then after we taped came out the videotape with Mr. Trump and Billy Bush saying rather lewd things about women. He said that, you know, those are words, I didn't do it. And now most recently women have come out and said, oh yeah, you did it to me. And then Mrs. Clinton on their side of the aisle, they're dealing with the WikiLeaks that are coming out. So what is this going to end up evolving into? Is it all about, right now with Mrs. Clinton with a lead, as it seems now, it looks to me, and by the way, it's killing me because I don't want to watch as much as I do, but I do. And some of you are probably like that as well.
Yeah.
This whole trend going forward, Mr. Trump seems to be, okay, forget about it. I'm just going after that base, that rabid base that's going to follow him. Is that going to work?
That's going to work to some degree. I mean, I think this will be a base election where both parties need to get their base to come vote. So some of the ads we've seen lately, especially the Trump ads that have Hillary Clinton stumbling and coughing just to suggest that she's not fit to lead, are a base motivating agent. And so that's something that they're trying to do. So he can use that to some degree. But the problem for him is that base is shrinking, right? So 30 years ago, the percentage of white Anglos who were supporting the Republican Party, were out there to vote, was about 65%. And that number has shrunk in the electorate to about 30%. So the fact that he has a smaller base to work with, but also the fact that you've got women who are breaking out of that mold to support Hillary Clinton. In Texas, in the 90s, for Ann Richards and for Bill Clinton, those suburban white women voted for the Democratic Party. We're going to see that again, I think, and that's going to be the difference maker for Hillary Clinton in the election. So the fact that we've had all this problems for Trump and some of the inflammatory statements he's made and some potentially the things that he's done is creating this sensibility that the Republican Party is pushing women away. Some of the hashtags that came out after some of this discussion was that hashtag repeal the 19th Amendment, which is the amendment that gives women the right to vote. So how can this be something that Republicans are embracing? And so this has been where the Civil War has taken place, and the Republican Party is fighting for its soul.
How is all of this going to trickle down and affect politics here locally? Your book is about Texas politics, and there's some who say, well, it's not going to be long now before Texas is going to be blue, and one of my guests on last week said, fantasy and pixie dust. That is not going to happen anytime soon. What's your sense of how the Texas environment politically is going to be impacted by what's going on at the national level?
I think that, like Texans, like a lot of voters, are as confused as goats on AstroTurf. We don't know what to do, right? Because you don't like either of the candidates, but you definitely want to see the best policy outcome for Texas. So there's going to be this state of flux for a few years, maybe a few decades, because the situation has to sort itself out. The Democrats want to say that demographics are destiny, and I think that there's some truth to that, because you see a burgeoning population of younger people, especially Latinos, Asian Americans as well, especially in Harris County. So there is this growth of these individual subgroups that are going to be Democratic supporters. And if it's the case too that these Republican suburban women end up breaking for the Democrats, it's going to be hard for the Republicans to be able to keep that hold. So the reason the race is so close is that you have this spur of support for Democrats at the local level, and the Democrats are fielding good candidates at the local level. Statewide, they've had a bit of trouble, but locally they're getting good candidates. And so if they can keep recruiting good candidates and putting smart people out there, then that's going to be an attraction for a lot of voters.
I always feel good after I've taken the class of Professor Rottinghouse. Thank you very much. Because I always get an A. You give me an A. That's a good thing. I don't have to take a test. Thank you so much, Doc. I always appreciate it very much.